In today's video, we're going to have a look at more than 15 different number shortcuts and functions, including the rounds, functions and truncates. Now, when we look at numbers, it's always important to have the number in the correct format so that it shows what you are trying to communicate. A number doesn't mean anything if it doesn't really have a format. So let's just go through some shortcuts. If we have Control Shift and the $sign, it brings up a currency format. Now your currency here, as you can see, I have a pound sign, depends on your system settings of whatever currency that you're in. To have something like a 0.9 might not make a lot of sense, but we want to convert this into a percentage. So the shortcut here is Control Shift and percentage sign. It gives you 90%. If you want to have the number format with 2 decimals, with 1,000 separator and a negative value shown in minus, it's Control Shift and exclamation mark, and you can see that. Now just to try that out, let's just have a minus here, and you can see that as a number format, it's not just a subtract, it is a minus. Now we have a date here, and to convert a number into a date fast is Control Shift and hashtag or number 3. That gives you 15th of October. If you want to just have a simple number format, this is already in a number format, so let's try to drag this down here, and we want to convert this back to a general number format. So here, Control Shift and the tilde button, which is near the escape on your keyboard. And if you want to have an exponential format, you can also have the Control Shift and the top hat, as we call it. Okay, and there we go. So if you have a very large number, it makes sense to have it in an exponential format. There are a number of different currency and number formats in Excel. Let's go on to the number and go to Control 1. Opens up the dialog box for us. So right now we have this cell formatted as a general cell. And go across to the number, and you can use a separator here, and you can see how the sample looks right here. If you don't want any decimals, you can simply just press a 0. So let's have a look. We have that format. Now once again, we can go along, and you have a number of different currency formats. You don't even have to have a currency format or a decimal. But for example, you have a pound here. You can see how the data looks like right here. And if you want to go down to something like dollar, we just press OK, and let's add 2 decimal points right here. You can have a look at how the sample looks like. So let's press OK. Now let's just Control C and Control V down here, and let's have a look at accounting formats. Now accounting formats look slightly different, so it might look the same here in the sample. Let's press OK, and as you can see, you have a little bit for separation between the numbers. Effectively, the number stored in the cell is exactly the same. You can also use the number format to change it into different colors. So accounting doesn't allow you to have negative in red, but you can use, for example, the currency. However, you can go down to custom and have a look at the different available options right here, and the ones that have a red will show you that if it's a negative, it's going to be a red. Now let's say that you want to add the number, and you want to add something like USD at the end of it rather than having the $sign. You can simply come up to here where it says units, and you can simply type in USD, and that will allow you to have the number as a after the comma. Now let's just add a comma here so we can clear up the formatting. Press OK, and now you can see once again you have 9274 USD, but the number stored here is exactly 9274. Let's have a look at how to round up, round down and truncate numbers in this session. So what we need to do is, if we have a number 834.376, we're going to use the round formula right here. Let's type in equals round, open the bracket, let's select the number that we want, And here, if you can see the formula, we need to use a -3. This is going to round it up to the nearest 1,000. Let's close that bracket, and there we go. We have 1,000 there. Now let's round this up to the nearest 100. So just go back up here. Let's change this to -2, and we have 800. Now, just as a try, we're going to change this to 854 to have a look, and this now rounds it up to 900. Let's go back, Control Z. Let's round this up to the nearest 10. Now you get the point here. If we want to go past the decimal point, then we need to use positive numbers. So let's type in 1, and we are now rounded up to the nearest on the decimal side. If we now put in 2, we should get 38 here, 0.38. Let's just increase the decimal point right here. Now, can you see? 3.7, 3.76, 3.80. If we add 3 here, it should return us the same number again. The MROUND formula is used to determine a factor that you want to round it up to. So let's do MROUND, and it returns, let's select the number, and we want to perhaps have this to the nearest 50. So we can add this into 50, whereas the round function only has a predefined tens, thousands, or hundreds. Here we can use our own multiple to define our roundup. So let's press enter, and we have 850. If we do this to 25, you will see that it's 825. The next two formula are round down and round up. Now this allows you to define the number of digits that you want it to be rounded up by or rounded down. In this case, we are going to round it up to the nearest 100, and to do this it's a -2, and we're rounding it down to the nearest 100. And in the same formula here, we are rounding up, we take the same number, and we are going to have -2, which will round it up to the nearest 100 upwards. So, and that gives us 900. Let's have a look at ceiling and floor. Now let's type in ceiling, and let's open the bracket here. Now select the number. Here the significance starts from before the decimal point. So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's type in 3. Let's type in 4. Let's see what happens. If we have 4, and that's the ceiling, that gives us 88. So it's given us the ceiling to 88, and that's rounded up this number right here. Now if we go to floor, it's similar. We have the significance number here, and this time let's have 3, and now it's going to round down the number to the nearest integer. That's a full number before 85.7. The last function we'll have a look at is the TRUNCATE function, and what this does is truncate your number down to the desired multiple. So in this example here, we are going to type in the formula trunc. Let's select the number, and here we want to define how many digits of significance we want. Let's type in 2 and see what happens here. You can see that you have now 85.73, and it adds a 0. Now this is only because we have the decimal, and if we decrease it we could also have it, but if we increase the decimal you can see that there's zeros all the way throughout the number. Now let's just bring it down to 2 decimals. If you would like to round this up to the nearest second decimal, let's say the tenths, there we go, 85.7. And lastly, if we want to put in a -1, we can see that it's rounded up to the nearest tenth on the other side. Thank you for watching this video today, and if you like content like this, I would appreciate a like and subscribe, and until next time, happy spreadsheeting.